Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Patage Namaha. Welcome to all for this session on Ramayana to chapter 41 of Yuddha Kanda. In the previous chapters, we saw after Ravana has made the required security arrangements for Lanka, Rama had made the counter arrangements to attack on Lanka, and then he mounted the mountain Suvela, and from there he kept a closeful, watchful eye on Lanka. And then at that time, Sugriva saw Ravana standing on the upper terraces of his palace from outside Lanka from the Suvelagiri. And then immediately, with anger, he jumped from Suvelagiri by the side of Rama directly onto the mid of Lanka to the terraces of Ravana and invited him for a strong fight. And in the fight, he made his diadem or his crown to fall on the ground. And when he came to know that Ravana is trying to use that delusion to defeat him, immediately he jumped into the sky and came back to Rama, showing his valor. And everybody got wondered, including Rama. Seeing him bearing the marks of valor, the elder brother of Lakshmana, Rama, embracing him, said to Sugriva, "Without consulting me, you have acted thus imprudently. Such rashness is not seemly in a king, because a king is supposed to be responsible for his entire army, and usually they may encourage their army to go forward and fight, and they do not go themselves into the fight. By your recklessness, you have caused me great anxiety, as also the army and Vibhishana. O warrior, you are enamored of deeds of daring. Do not act thus in the future. O vanquisher of your enemies, if you had come by some misfortune, what would Sita or Bharata or my younger brothers Lakshmana or Shatrughna have availed me? It means Rama held Sugriva in such a position that if something happened to Sugriva, then what is that he need to do with all his brothers or even with conquering Sita? O valiant scourge of your enemies, if you had not returned, though I am conversant with your valor, this was my fixed resolve. Having destroyed Ravana in fight with his sons, forces, and chariots, I should have installed Vibhishana as king of Lanka, suffered Bharata to ascend the throne at Ayodhya, and I would have renounced my life, O great prince. With these words of Rama, Sugriva answered, saying, "Seeing the one who had borne away your consort, O brave descendant of Raghu, conscious of my own strength, how could I have acted otherwise?" Thus spoke that warrior, and Raghava, having commended him, addressed Lakshmana, who was endowed with auspicious marks, saying, "Beside these cool waters and trees laden with fruit, let us divide and marshal our forces. O Lakshmana, I foresee a terrible calamity boding universal destruction and death to the intrepid bears, monkeys, and titans. Harsh winds blow, earth trembles, and the mountains quake. Trees crash to the earth, sinister clouds resembling birds of prey roar in terrifying voice, and let fall rain mixed with blood. The dusk, red as sandal, is full of horror, and from the sun a flaming circle falls. Wild beasts and birds emit frantic cries and are ill at ease. Their voices and fierce aspect deprive them of their beauty. In the night, the moon shone at its radiance, surrounded by black and fiery rays, burns red as at the time of destruction of the world. A thin, dark, sinister rim of coppery hue is seen surround the sun, and on its surface a black mark appears, nor does that orb approach any other planets as is usual, all of which prefigures the final dissolution of the world. Behold, O Lakshmana, how crows, eagles, and vultures are flying low, circulating rapidly, emitting piercing and lugubrious cries. Earth changed to mud, and Gori will be now covered with rocks, javelins, and darts hurled by the monkeys and titans. This very day, surrounded by the monkeys on all sides, let us make an attack on that citadel defended by Ravana. Having spoken thus to Lakshmana, his younger brother, that mighty warrior rapidly descended from the summit of the mountain, and coming to the bottom of that hill, the virtuous Raghava inspected his army, which was invincible to the enemy. Then, the time having come, Rama, who was conversant with a fitting moment to act, gave the signal to advance, and at an auspicious moment, now bow in hand, turned towards Lanka. Vibhishana, Sugriva, Hanuman, Nala, Jambavan, and the king of bears, as also Nila and Lakshmana followed, and behind them the mighty host of bears and monkeys, covering a vast stretch of earth, threw themselves in Raghava's wake. Hundreds of rocks and enormous trees served as weapons to those monkeys, verily the vanquisher of their enemies who resembled elephants. Soon the two brothers Rama and Lakshmana, whose subduers of those subduers of the enemies, reached the city of Ravana, garlanded with banners, enchanting with the pleasure gardens which adorned it, inaccessible with its many gateways, highways, and arches. Then those denizens of the forest, encouraged by the sound of Rama's voice and obedient to his commands, halted before Lanka, which was impregnable even to the guards. Thereafter, Rama, accompanied by his younger brother, bow in hand, surveyed the northern gate, which was as high as the peak of a mountain, and took up his position there. That valiant son of Dasharatha, followed by Lakshmana, advanced under the walls of Lanka, whose highway was Ravana. None but Rama could have approached and examined the northern gate where Ravana stood, which was formidable and guarded by him as the ocean by Varuna, and which was defended on all sides by Titans, as the Danavas who sow terror in the hearts of the weak god Patala. Rama observed innumerable weapons and armor of every kind heaped there for the combatants. Meanwhile, Nila took up his position with Mainda and Dvivida at the eastern gate, the head of the host of monkeys. Angada, with his vast forces, assisted by Rishabha, Gavaksha, Gaja, and Gavaya, occupied the southern gate. Hanuman, that virtuous monkey, was stationed at the northwestern gate with Bragana, Tarasa, and other warriors grouped round him, while Sugriva personally occupied an observation post in the center. At the head of all those leading monkeys, the equals of Suparna and Pavana, 66 crores of renowned warriors were grouped under Sugriva. Meanwhile, under Rama's command, Lakshmana, assisted by Vibhishana, distributed his innumerable divisions at each gate. Behind Rama, Sushena, and Jambavan, those lions among the monkeys, possessing the teeth of tigers, furnished with trees and rocks, waited delightedly for the signal to fight. Lashing their tails feverishly, they used their jaws and nails as weapons. Trembling in every limb, their forced faces were set grimly, and they were extremely strong, having the strength of 10 elephants, some 10 times more powerful, some equaling 1,000 elephants in might, and there were some who had the vigor of a million mount elephants, and even more. For the might of those monkey leaders was immeasurable. Marvelous and astonishing was the gathering of those monkey forces resembling a cloud of locusts. The earth and the air were filled with monkeys rushing towards Lanka or already stationed beneath its walls. By hundreds and thousands, bears and monkeys poured towards the gates of Lanka that others assailed on every side. The hills disappeared completely under that host of Pravangamas, numbering millions who were ranging round the city, and those heroic monkeys with tree trunks in their hands surrounded the whole of Lanka that even the winds were unable to penetrate. Then the Titans, who in their valor rivaled Shakra or Indra, seeing themselves besieged by those monkeys like massed clouds, were struck with a sudden terror, and as they broke rank, a tremendous clamor arose from that host of combatants, which resembled the roar of the ocean beating against the shore. At this tumult, the whole of Lanka, with its ramparts, arches, hills, woods, and forests, began to tremble. Under the direction of Rama, Lakshmana, and Sugriva, that army became even more invincible than the hosts of gods and titans. Raghava, however, having ranged his forces in order to wipe out the demons, took counsel with his ministers and pondered deeply again and again. Desiring to act without delay and with circumspection, he, in his consummate experience with Vibhishana's approbation, calling to mind the duty of kings, summoned Vali's son Angada and said to him, "Go, my friend, on behalf of our army, and passing through the city of Lanka without fear, say to Dashagriva, you have sacrificed your renown, destroyed your kingdom, and in your haste to die has lost your wits. Rishis, Devas, Gandharvas, Apsaras, Nagas, Yakshas, and kings, O ranger of the night, you have been oppressed by you. I have been oppressed by you in your reckless pride. O Titan, from now on that arrogance begot of the boon you did receive from Swayambhu shall be subdued. I shall inflict a fitting penalty for your ruthless objection of my consort. It is with a rod of chastisement that I have stationed myself at Lanka's gates. Having displayed your martial valor slain by me, you shall attain the region of gods. You yourself demonstrate the same courage that you did employ in bearing Sita away from me. Having first deceived me by magic arts, O most vile of the Titans, I shall rid the earth of Titans with my pointed shafts. If you do not make an appeal to my clemency by returning mightily to me. That virtuous prince of the Titans, the illustrious Vibhishana, who is here, will undoubtedly reign in Lanka without opposition. Nay, it is not fitting that even for an instant the crown should belong to one as perfidious as you are, a wicked creature who surrounded himself yourself with fools and who is not conversant with the self. Enter into combat with me, O Titan. Exert your strength and valor in the fight. Your arrows will chasten you, and you will be subdued. Even should you range the three folds in the form of a bird, O Night Ranger, my glance would follow you, and you would not return alive. I give you this salutary counsel. Prepare for your obsequies and let Lanka regain her splendor. Your life is in my hands. Furnished with Rama's instructions, the son of Tara, ascended into the air like that is Angada ascended into the air like unto God, bearing away a sacrificial offering, and in an instant arrived at Ravana's palace, where he beheld him seated at ease amid his ministers. That youthful prince of monkeys, Angada of golden bracelets, like a flaming torch, descended close to the king, and having made himself known, addressed the whole of Rama's exceedingly significant speech, without adding or subtracting anything to him in the presence of his court, saying, I am the messenger of the king of Kosala, Rama of imperishable exploits. I am the son of Vali, Angada is my name. Perchance you have heard of me, the descendant of Raghu, Rama, the increaser of Kausalya's delight. Speak thus to you. Come forth and enter into combat with me. Manifest your valor. I shall destroy you, your counselors, your sons, relatives, and allies. You being dead, three worlds will cease to be troubled. O you whose enemies are the Devas, Danavas, Yakshas, Gandharvas, and Uragas, and Rakshasas, you thorn in the side of the ascetics. Vibhishana will become king when you are slain by me. If you do not return Vaidehi, having paid her every homage, and cast yourself at my feet. Hearing these harsh words from the lion among the monkeys, the lord of the Titans, infuriated, issued the following command repeatedly to his attendants, saying, Seize him and put him to death. On this order being given by Ravana, Angada, who in his splendor resembled a blazing torch, was seized by four terrible giants, and the son of Tara suffered himself to be made captive without offering any resistance, for that valiant warrior desired to display his prowess to the host of Yatudhanas. Thereafter, seizing three of the Titans like unto serpents in his arms, he leaped onto the palace, and that resembled a mountain. Shaken by his impetuous bound, the three Titans fell to the ground under the eyes of their king. Then the powerful son of Wali scaled the palace up to its roof, which equaled the summit of a mountain in height, and the impact of his bounds caused it to crumble before Dashagriva's gaze as a peak in the Himalayas is shattered by lightning. Having destroyed the roof of the palace, Angada proclaimed his name, and with a triumphant roar rose into the air. To the exceeding terror of the Titans and the great delight of the apes, he alighted in the midst of the monkeys beside Rama. Thereupon Ravana, transported with anger, giving himself up for lost, began to sigh heavily. Meanwhile, Rama, who was surrounded by Plavangamas emitting joyful cries, eager to destroy his adversary, advanced to meet him in combat. Now, Sushena was at the head of innumerable monkeys who were able to change their form at will, and under the order of Sugriva, he patrolled the gates, and that invincible warrior resembled the moon moving amid the stars. Seeing the hundreds of divisions encamped under the walls of Lanka and marshaled on the shores of the sea, the Titans were amazed, while some were terror struck and others, overjoyed at the prospect of fighting, leaped in exultation. Beholding those hosts occupying the whole space between the walls and the moat, however, seeing the monkeys like unto a second rampart, those rangers of the night cast down, cried out, Woo, alas, in their terror. In the midst of that appalling tumult, the soldiers of Ravana seized hold of their powerful weapons and advanced like the winds that blow the dissolution of the world. Thus came to the end chapter 41 of Yuddha Kanda in Ramayana. Namaste Sharada Devi, Kashmira Puravasini. त्वामहं प्रार्थये नित्यं विद्यादानं च देहि मे